han komin, kjola hevet flexi fjuna I flej. Ekaven han komin nu.
Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we are going to make kanelbullar. Kanelbullar are a delicacy in the Scandinavian world. I've had many when traveling to Sweden. They're absolutely fantastic. The recipe is linked in the description below, so just head over there. It's an external website. I've tried the recipe 2 times. The first time was a disaster, the second time they came out perfect. And I found that the trick is to have the right flour. So use proper white bread flour. It has to be white bread flour because you want it to be nice and glutinous. Right, let's start. From the recipe, just pop in your flour, yeast, a little bit of salt, some sugar, and I am going to mix them quickly by hand and add some cold milk to this now. Now, the nice thing about this recipe is, as you might know, I am vegan, and when you go to Sweden and you have your lovely little cakes and things, a lot of the times it's tricky to find good vegan versions of these recipes. And I'm super happy to have found this one because I can just make it at home now. There is one really lovely cafe in, I think it is in Södermalm in the south of the city, which has vegan cakes, and I've had some lovely things there. I've had some nice buns there for Easter, which was really wonderful, and their cinnamon buns are really good as well. Anyway, so we have the milk now. It's a nice soya milk that I use, and you basically mix it together, and as you can see, it becomes very messy in the beginning, but I just kind of want to get everything from here sort of sticking to my hands, and now we're just gonna knead this into a nice dough. Now what you want is this needs to be a nice glutinous dough, so this is gonna take quite some time, and I will be cutting in a bit because you don't want to see me doing this for 10 minutes. But it is just a bit of work, but it will it will come out really beautiful and smooth, and it will be an amazing dough to work with. And then we are gonna fold in butter. Now we're not gonna fold it in like Moira on Schitt's Creek, but we're just gonna put the butter in and sort of fold it in. But just look at this, it's already starting to stick less. It's still very sticky at this stage, but you just keep going for about 10 minutes until you're really happy with it. This is good for muscles in your hands. You have to get strong hands for this one. If you have a food processor, you can do that as well. The website has some really instructions on using a food processor as well. But I will see you in 10 minutes when this dough is all beautiful. All right, as you can see, this now looks really nice. It has a good consistency, and we are going to put the butter in this dough now. And again, this is going to start off quite messy, and we need to knead that again for about 10 minutes. But it gives such a beautiful, rich dough. It's really lovely. At least I hope it will be. So basically the recipe mentions that you have to smash the butter and do some stuff. I just like to grate my plant-based butter. I have a really nice plant-based butter that I use, and I'm gonna just pop that all grated here like this. It is quite nice when it's grated because then you have these nice little loose flakes, all of them. And then I just sort of spread it over this a little bit. This is really not a precision job in the slightest. Just fold it in like this, and see, we are folding things in. And you sort of work it like this, and at first you think like, oh, this is going really well, but then the butter starts sort of, you know, coming through, and it becomes very, very messy. But again, you knead this for about 10 minutes keep kneading it, and then I will be back in about 10 minutes of kneading this oily sticky mess. All right, I've been kneading this for about a good 10 minutes, and just look, it's beautiful. It's really, it feels like silky soft. It's just really wonderful to work with now. And yeah, so this dough is now ready for you to work with. So you really want this really smooth, lovely texture. And this now needs to sit and rest for about 1 or 2 hours until approximately doubled in size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of oil on this, like that. And we're placing that in a bowl. I'm going to pop that on a warm spot, cover it. If you have cling film, you can use that. I don't have cling film, so I'm just going to use this right now. And this is going to rest for about an hour, 2 hours, until properly doubled in size, and then I can process the kanelbullar further. Put that here for now. While that is waiting to double in size, I am going to make the filling, for which we have, again, butter at room temperature, cinnamon, which we add to it. I think it's about 10 grams, a lovely Sri Lankan cinnamon I have from our local organic supermarket. And I've got some of this one as well. That's the cardamom. That's about 3 grams. And I forgot the amount of sugar. I think it's 75 grams of sugar. And I've done half light Muscovado sugar and white caster sugar, as the recipe also suggests. And then we just sort of mash this together, and you sort of want a really nice smooth texture, and you work this together until that's done, and then you wait until your dough is ready, and then you can use that as a filling. So I will come back to you and show you what this lovely mash looks like once my dough is ready. See you very shortly. Right, we are back. My dough has risen, the light has gone because it is past 4 o'clock, which means that it's pretty much dark now. We have some milk for putting on or glazing the kanelbullar before they go into the oven. Our filling, nice and soft. I like to keep it, well, it says at room temperature, but I do keep it a little bit warmer near a source of heating. You don't want this molten, but you definitely want it like nice and creamy like this, so it spreads nicely onto your dough. We also need 1 spatula to spread, 1 brush to brush our milk once the kanelbullar are done. And this is not required, but it is super handy to have a pizza cutter because it slices nice through the dough once we're done. Right, my dough is beautiful. I always love this when you have this dough all nice and risen, and then we smack it again. Now we need just a little bit of flour for on the table. Of course, we want a nice clean working surface to work with. And you really don't want to do too much flour here, because then your cake, just your kanelbullar will just be very dry. So, and I rather put sort of too much on the area in a thin layer, because this is literally like, doesn't cost anything. There we go, some flour there. Now the recipe requires you to make a piece, just look how beautiful this is. A piece that is about 75 centimeters long and about 16 centimeters wide. Now make of that what you want, but that's kind of the size that you want. I am roughly going by feeling here and not so much by proper size. I'm just going to put a little bit of flour on both sides here, and then we're going to start rolling this with our rolling pin. And this is not exact science, but you kind of want to get a nice sheet of this, because we're going to fold this in 3 parts. So you get a third towards you and then another third towards you, and that's what we'll be working with. So this is roughly the size that I want it to be. Nice. And now we are going to use the spatula to spread our filling. Let me just look at this filling, it's beautiful. This is always a little bit tricky. It feels a little bit weird. See, you can see that it's sort of sticking here as well, but that's okay. They are not going to be like perfect cakes. You kind of want to go to the edges as well, because you don't want to have some that hardly have any filling and then others that are full of cinnamon. So we kind of want to spread it nicely. Scrape it off a bit where it's too thick. And get this nice buttery, sugary layer all over here. I'll get some here as well. Of course, keep washing your hands while working, because hygiene. Whoop. There, that's fine. Now I'm going to put this away. Quickly wash my hands. And then we can fold this first like this. See, that's lovely. And then another time like this. Now you can see that it's a bit messy here, but that's fine, because it will be cut and then we'll be twisting it, and then no one will be any the wiser. Just gonna do a quick push like this. You don't have to make it huge at all. And now we are cutting 6 pieces. So we're gonna cut it like through the middle and then those 3 wise. The recipe then says also to cut it again. I am not doing that. I am skipping that step. But we will do it like this. There we go, and then now the outer ones will be slightly less perfect, but hey, I am not perfect either, so I really don't mind that. And then what you do is you twist this nicely and you kind of roll it up, because you want it to be a nice roll. And then we put that onto the baking tray. And I mean, I am definitely no expert at this whole rolling thing. This is literally the 3rd batch, hopefully, and the 2nd batch that will be actually edible. We will see that when they get out of the oven. But this twist is nice. It looks really pretty. And trust me, they're going to be really tasty. And I just kind of sort of just make a little rows. It really is not very pretty. They'll start rising in the oven in a bit, and then they'll be fantastic. Ooh, this one actually twists quite nice. Kind of proud of that now. And then you sort of just tuck that last bit just underneath it like this. And you know, just don't worry if this is getting messy. I like to pull this a little bit as well while I do this, so the roll becomes a little bit longer. And then just roll it up nicely and tuck that last bit just underneath it like this. And I mean, there is something about cinnamon and sugar, isn't there, and winter. It just goes well together. I mean, it wouldn't be Christmas for me without nice cinnamon rolls. And this is the last one. Now this is a really messy one, so I feel like I should sacrifice myself and eat this one. I'll probably eat all of them. Yeah, this is a hot mess, but hey ho, so am I, so that's all good. Now, that's there. We get our brush and our milk and just give them a quick brush. Like that. So they shine nicely and stay moist as well. And there, this is going in the oven now. The oven is preheated at 220 degrees Celsius. Fahrenheit instructions are on the website in the recipe as well. This needs to bake for about 12 minutes. I will take a short break and I will be back in a minute. But while this is baking, I will be making my glaze just before they get out of the oven, for which I have a saucepan, some water, some sugar. I quickly heat this so it's bubbling hot, and then once they come out of the oven, I immediately use the brush, which will be clean again, and brush my cinnamon buns, and hopefully they will be all perfect then. Right, it has been about 12 minutes. They look very good, I hope. So I am going to take my kanelbullar from the oven now. And have my glasses steam up nicely as well, of course. Right, I don't want to wreck my countertop. So, I mean, they look pretty yummy. Don't worry, the sugar melts a little bit, so it will sort of create little islands of molten lava on the bit as well. But that's absolutely fine. Now the last thing that you want to do is your boiling, and this is extremely, extremely hot because sugar has a higher temperature than water. So water sugar obviously is going to be hotter than 100 degrees, but just use your brush and get a nice generous amount of your glaze on there. And I mean, that is just beautiful. You want your glaze to be a little bit, you know, turning a little bit like golden syrup color. So it's better to have it on a low heat and boil it for a little bit. You don't want it all evaporated as well. I always make a little bit more than the recipe requires as well, because I rather pour down the last bit once it has cooled down than to realize that I haven't got enough glaze, and I have plenty. Just a little bit here. There. There. And that is our cinnabons, our kanelbullar, I should say. So I am pretty happy with them. I will let them cool down. They need to be cooled down fully. This is not a dish that you want to sort of eat half hot, because again, boiling sugar not a good idea. It genuinely is molten lava. So have patience and just let them cool down. Once they cool down nicely, just enjoy them with a nice hot chocolate, a cup of coffee. Make it a fika, a nice coffee break, as the Swedes do. And yes, enjoy your kanelbullar. See you very soon with the next video.